What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back. It's your host, Bruce GNT. And for today's video, back on TikTok, I'm not doing my little series I have planned. Don't worry, it's coming soon. But what I do have, right, is this young lady right here. I'll put her profile in the description below so you can be able to watch her videos and, give a little bit of support. I found the response to this video first, and I was kind of confused because I didn't know what she was talking about. And then I decided to kind of go looking for it, and then I was able to find it. So we're going to react to this one right quick, and I'm going to give my input. And then we're going to jump to the other video that I saw and then kind of give my input on that as well. So let's jump right in.
According to one of my guy friends, and I want to know if this is true, and I don't know if all men believe this or the men that I want to date believe this or who believes in this, but according to one of my guy friends, he said the man that you want to date, which is a traditional man, is not going to be interested in you because you are so career driven. And for me, that kind of blew my mind because I was just like, well, why wouldn't the man that I want to date not want me to work? And he said, well, Bailey, the traditional man is going to want you to drop what you're doing, and he's going to want you to, nurture the family. He's going to want you to clean the house. He's going to want you to cook. He's going to want you to do this. And if you are working, you're not going to want to do all that. You're going to come home with an attitude. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to this, you're going to that, so you're not going to want to. I was like, no, I still would. He's like, no, you wouldn't. He's like, and plus, and if a guy is asking you.
One thing I will say is that I don't see a problem with women asking men and then vice versa, certain points that they want to understand or certain things that they try to understand, because I have a lot of women ask me questions that they just want to understand when it comes to how men think, right? But one thing I will say is that I think it's wise for people to kind of source where they're getting information from and then ask multiple people. Don't just ask one person and take them as the leading authority on that subject matter, because you need to get the idea and opinions of many different people that are within that group that you're asking for, right? So to start off, I don't necessarily think her friend is wrong when he says if you want a traditional man, your man wants you to be traditional in the sense of, hey, look, when you have kids, right, and when you're like a wife and you're in the home, I don't want you worrying about having to go out and work. Your job at that point is no longer doing whatever she's doing. It's to nurture the children, take care of the home. So in that respect, he's not necessarily wrong. And that's in contingent on the fact that if she wants a traditional man, because the vast majority of traditional men feel that way. They're like, hey, look, when children come into the picture, you are now the homemaker. You are now the person that's designated to take care of the home, take care of the children, nurture them and everything like that, build them up. That's what that is. That's what it means to be traditional, as I've understood. And he brings up a really good point, because that is true. I'm not sure what her profession is. In a sense, he's not wrong, because this is something that people talk about quite a bit, especially when they talk about 50-50. They're like, men want us to come home after doing a long shift of work and then cook and clean and take care of the kids. And it's like, I'm not saying her because I don't know her. I'm just going to assume that her friend probably said, no, you wouldn't, because he knows her. Because I've said something similar to a friend of mine where I was like, no, I know you. I know how you're going to act. You would not move like that. But if he's just saying that just as a blanket statement, it's really hard to say. I'm hard pressed to believe, right, that after working a shift, wherever you work, that you're going to come home and then want to take care and pick up the house. I highly doubt that. I could be off, but I highly doubt that. And that's why, let's just say she wants traditional man, that probably won't work out in the way that she's thinking.
You, like what your goals are, and you're talking about how you want to continue to go back to school and you want to do this and you want to do that. They're not hearing that you want to, they're not hearing that you want to nurture your family. And I was like, but I mean, I thought it was like a given that, hey, I'm a nurse. Of course, like, I'm a nurturer and I'm going to take care of my...
Nope, that's not what that means. Also, she's a nurse. I have a few friends that are nurses, everything like that. They have long and demanding shifts. So this kind of reaffirms what I said earlier. I highly doubt she's going to work a 12, right? And then come back home and say, take care of the kids. No. And I could be off. Maybe she's not working a 12. I'm not too sure. I could be off. Also, as well, I find it funny. She's like, well, I'm a nurse, so obviously I'm a nurturer. That's not what that means. I've met a lot of nurses, right? That does not mean that they're nurturers. For them, that's just a job. That doesn't speak on their ability to be nurturing. I met a lot of nurses that were not the least bit nurturing. You being a certain job, that does not give off alarm bells for people to think, oh, well, she has to be nurturing. She's a nurse. No, that's not what that means. I was a Marine. Obviously, I was a warfighter. That doesn't mean that I was like a run and gun killer. I was just a Marine. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't automatically give me that attribute.
My family. But in the meantime, while, we don't have kids, is it not attractive that I have a career going for me? Or I don't know. I thought that was...
Let me make something clear, right? I don't have an issue if a woman wants to go out and work and do what she got to do and whatnot. Like, for me personally, if you're going to be my woman, I don't want you not doing shit. Like, go do something. Like, I want you to feel fulfilled and actually have something that you're looking forward to. Have a job, have a hobby, whatever. I don't care. Men and women don't think the same. A man is not going to look at a woman and be like, oh, that's attractive, she has a career. As far as I know, I've talked to a lot of men, and I myself as a man, I've never once looked at a woman and said, oh, she has a career, that's so sexy. No, we don't think like that. We're happy that you're doing something. You're not just lounging around not doing shit. If I got with a woman right now, she had all the values and traits that I wanted, but she didn't have a career, I'm not going to be like, damn, but, I need that. No, it doesn't mean anything to me.
So odd, and I've never heard that before. Because when someone asks me, like, oh, like, what are your goals? Like, of course I'd love to be a mom. Of course I'd love to take care of my family, of course. But aren't they asking me, like, what my current goals are? Like, I didn't know they were talking about, like, the future. I'm talking about, like...
It's both, kind of. It's both. It's not really, like, one is short. Like, it's both, essentially.
Right now. Like, I'm talking about how I want to, like, be the best nurse. And I want to be able to take care of people, like, efficiently and quickly. And I want to be able to be the, like, person that people turn to. And know that, like, I'm that person that is going to get it done. And I'm going to take care of them. Is that not also saying, like, that I'm a nurturer? That, of course, I would take care of my family? I don't know. That kind of, like, threw me because he was saying, well, Bailey, when you get pregnant and you have kids, like, why would you try to work? I'm like, well, I want to maintain my skills. Like, I worked so hard.
I can't speak for traditional men as a whole, but what I do know, speaking to some of them, that's not what they want. Once children come into play, your job is mother. They don't mind if you have hobbies and whatnot. They don't give a damn about that. You're not on your feet working and, going to your job and whatnot. That's not what you're doing. No, you're taking a step back. You're focusing on, nurturing yourself. So, when it's time to bring forth the children, everything like that, that's what they want. When it's no kids involved, seemingly they don't care. As long as you take care of the house and everything like that and make sure things are in tip-top shape. But with the minute children come into play, yeah. And I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. Tell me if I'm wrong. But that's not how they see things and that's not how they want it.
Here. And of course, my family would be my number one priority. But, like, what about when all the kids are out of the nest? Like, what am I going to do then? Like, for me, it gives me purpose as a nurse to take care of others. Like, I love that. I love doing what I do. Yeah, it's stressful, but gosh, I love it. Like, does the type of man I want really not want me doing that? Like, that's what I thought was so weird. Like, guys, is this true? Woman, have you been told this before? Like, is this your experience? Because that threw me for... I don't even know the saying, but that threw me off. Like, of course I would love on my family. Of course I would take care of my family. Of course I would do everything it took to make sure that my family was comfortable, that food was on the table, that everything was clean, that everything was sanitary. But I guess me saying that I want to go back to school, that I want to give back to the community, that I want to do this, is that a turnoff to the man that I want?
I must say, Bailey, very attractive woman. Doing your thing. Not necessarily. That's not really a turn off or unattracted to that man. What it does is that it sets forth the precedent in our minds that, okay, that's your main priority right now. And depending on her age, 'cause I don't know how old she is, you know what I'm saying? Depending on her age, we might be looking at that going, okay, well, I'm ready to do this right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to wait. You know, your main goal is to, you know, more so career oriented, and then, you know, I guess altruistic, you know, helping the community and whatnot. That's cool and all. But most traditional men, depending on your age, are looking at it like, okay, well, the clock is ticking. I don't have a watch. I'm sorry. They're not necessarily looking at that, at what you're saying and what she's saying, right, as a negative. But they're saying, okay, you know what? Her main priority is this, but my main priority as a traditional man, I'm just speaking for them, is to have a family, foster a family, take care of that family. If the first thing out of her mouth isn't, hey, I want to have kids, I want to have a family, and it's, well, I kind of want to focus on my career, you know, that kind of would turn them off a little bit.
Does that make him not hear that I'm going to be a great mom? I don't know. Like, that totally threw me off. Like, is that just, like, his point of view? Or is this really, like, the type of traditional man that I want's point of view?
I'm going to stop it there. To answer her question, it could be both. It could be his point of view, and that's why I say, like, source your answers from many different people, many different men in this case, right? But also, only she knows her exact type when it comes to the traditional man. So it quite possibly that the traditional man that you're looking for, that could be his ideas and his views, you know, very much could be. And the next question is, how would you adapt? Or would you just say, nah, screw it, this is my main goal, this is what I'm going to focus on right now? And then you also have to take into account that if that's going to be your main goal, that's going to be your main priority, you might be missing out on your type or the type of man that you do want.
This is a comment that I actually really resonate with. Like, how do you expect us women to live in our feminine if you're not creating that safe space where we don't feel the need to have these careers? Don't want us to have a career because it's too masculine. So do you want us to be like frolicking outside with like no house, no career, no nothing, so you guys can feel masculine? It's like, y'all need to step up and give us women a safe space so then we feel that we can be in our feminine.
Look, I understand exactly what she's saying, but at the end of the day, no one's saying that we want you to be like invalids, like destitute, like unable to provide for yourself. That's not what's being said. At least that's not what I'm saying. What we're trying to convey, or I should say what I'm trying to convey, is that if you want a traditional man wants his woman a certain way when they start to date, marry, and then have children. That's what they want. They don't mind if you, as far as I know, they don't mind if you work, they don't mind if you provide for yourself, but once you come under his covering, which would normally be during marriage, you kind of forego all that because he would be able to take care of you. This is provided all on the fact that him working alone and providing for you is enough for you guys to live more than comfortably. That's what that's provided on, right? So that's essentially what that is. They don't want you to be destitute and not be able to do shit. No. You know, that's not what they want. They want it to where when it's time for you to get married, when it's time for you to have children, the only thing you're worried about and thinking about is the family unit. That's it. When the children leave the house, free fall. Do what you gotta do. But that's their main priority.
I'm in my feminine, and I've probably had a handful of men who made me feel safe enough to be in my feminine. It's the place that you guys create for us, and you need to be creating that safe space.
That's another thing too. I don't like this narrative that you have to, like, you're masculine until we pull that out of you. No, if you're, because I'm not getting into this whole masculine feminine bullshit. No, it's stupid. You're feminine off rip. Feminine doesn't mean that you're just getting tread all over and everything like that. No, you're able to use your feminine wiles, to be able to get to it, what you want, and be able to succeed in life. You don't have to be masculine to be able to provide for yourself. No, that's not what that is. Like, for instance, that's like saying that a man's in his feminine until a woman drags out so he can be masculine. No, it doesn't make any sense. If you're feminine, there is no, well, I gotta wait for a space to be feminine. No, you're automatically that. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, I'm masculine no matter what. No one's pulling anything out of me. I'm not needing a space. I'm not creating a space. No, you're feminine, and it doesn't matter if a space is created for you or not. It's how you conduct yourself, how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you act. You know what I'm saying? It's not based off of, you know, whether or not you have a career or not. That means nothing. That has nothing to do with feminine and masculine. I guess what Kevin Samuels used to say, fit, feminine, and friendly. If you're all three of those things, then you're in your feminine. You know, you don't have to have your feminine dragged out, and that shit is stupid.
And it's like, look at what you guys are doing. Like, you guys are attacking and putting out such negative energy. And then there's that, I feel that need to defend myself. Whereas that's not a feminine quality. It's like, look at what you guys are doing to the women. And you're making them that way.
Who determined that defending yourself isn't feminine quality? Who said that? There's a difference in defending yourself and then going off and acting unbecoming of a woman. You know what I'm saying? Responding to people, which I don't know why people respond to negativity, because I get negative comments all the time. I don't give a damn. You can say whatever you want to say about me. I know who I am. I'm very secure who I am. Dozens of people can make comments under my stuff, which they have, and talk about how much I suck, and I'm going to reply and say, hey, thanks for the support, man. That's it. That's not me being in my feminine. That's just me being me. Who said defending yourself is not feminine? I'm confused.
But at the same time, how do you guys expect us like to live if we don't have a career? If we are single? In that waiting period, waiting for our person, waiting for God to give us that person. Do you want, like, how do you expect us women to afford a place, especially living in California, where it's so expensive without a career job? You can't afford a place on a minimum wage job unless you're...
That's your first mistake, living in California. Like I said before, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. No one's saying to not have a career and not do a job. That's not, well, maybe some people are saying that. But to be the traditional feminine, because she wants a traditional man, right? No one's saying to not work a job. That's not what people are saying. What I'm saying is that when it's time for you to, you know, find a man, be married, or when that man is courting or whatever, you come under his covering, you forgo all that career stuff, right? And then you are for the family unit. You are a homemaker. You take care of the home, take care of the children. You are a supporter of that man. You help him in all his endeavors. That's your main objective.
Living with a bunch of roommates. So it's like, it's damned if we do, damned if we don't. And like, if men in this dating age, in my dating pool, actually took the time to date a woman, and I'm meaning like date with the intent to marry, and not say all the love bombing that's happening, you know, dating multiple girls, or the cheating that men do. What? I don't know what you expect from us. And maybe I don't want a traditional man. Because those weren't even my words. Those were my friends. I told him I wanted a man of God, a guy who leads me closer to God, a guy who lets God be the center of our relationship, someone who I'm equally yoked with. That's what I wanted, and he told me that was a traditional man, and that's why I asked the question.
She needed to give a little bit more context if that's how she was going to lead it off, because in a sense that is traditional. That's why I said she should have sourced her question to multiple different men as opposed to just going to one man and thinking, well, you know what, he must know what he's talking about, because it's possible he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But I would say that that man is leaning more to the traditional, but it's not traditional in that sense. Not 100%, maybe like 60%, maybe.
And then y'all came raging at me with pitchforks, like, oh, you're a nurse, that's a red flag, oh, you become the man you wanted to date. Like, you guys, let's be real here. Let's talk about the place that you guys are making for us. We don't feel safe. And all you guys are saying, no, guys, let's stay single. These women aren't worth it. Why aren't we being chased? You guys, it's not... See how you're wanting us to be masculine. Girls are not supposed to court men.
Men are not saying, why aren't we being chased? We want reciprocal effort. You know what I'm saying? We want it to be known that, hey, look, I'm not just putting forth all my effort in courting you. I want to know that you at least like me and is reciprocal to a certain extent. Don't chase me, but let it be known that you're interested, along with differentiating yourself from the rest of the women that I may be entertaining, or just the rest of the women in general. Let's just say it's me and you, right? We're just talking, we're dating, we're courting each other, whatever have you, right? how are you going to differentiate yourself from the rest of the women that may be interested, or just the women in general? Because if I'm talking to you and you're not putting forth an effort, if you're showing that, I don't know, you just seem boring, you don't really show that you're like, that you give a damn, why would I want to continue this? We're not asking you to chase. We just want a little bit more. What's been going on for a little while is that a lot of women kind of are beautiful, because I think she's a very attractive, fine ass woman. And they kind of fall back when it comes to trying, because they're just like, well, no, you should chase me. I should be chasing you, but I need a little bit of like, you know, meet me, not even in the middle, just meet me a quarter of the way to show me that you're interested, show me that this is worth something. And that hasn't been happening. They just been pulling back like, nah, you gotta come all the way here. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do all that because you might not even like me at the end of this. You know what I'm saying?
But yet you say we are masculine. Like, pick a side. What do you want us to do? Like, damn. Like, and you guys are like, oh, I hate boss babes. I never once said I was a boss babe. I just said I was a nurse. And then y'all had your knee-jerk responses because of your past experiences that were unfortunate. And I'm so sorry that you experienced that. I truly am. But that's not who I am. Like, you're responding to the person who hurt you under my post. I'm not the person who hurt you. I'm really sorry that someone did hurt you. And I truly, with all my heart, I hope you do find someone who changes your mindset on what it is to love a feminine woman, because you need to create that safe space for her. Because guys are not doing that right now. Why do you think the women are becoming boss babes? It's because they don't feel safe enough for a man to lead.
Half the story. They're becoming boss babes because, and I'll talk to like a few women about this, and I've gotten their input on it. They're becoming boss babes because they have a lot of that toxic rhetoric poured into their mind, namely by their mother, about how you don't need a man's gonna leave you in a lurch. If you depend on a man, he's gonna just drop you, he's gonna try to control you. These are things that their mother had told them. So they're not becoming boss babes because, you know, men didn't create the space for them to be, you know, vulnerable. No. Well, maybe some of them are. A great deal of them are becoming that way because they're being fed a whole lot of nonsense from their mothers that have been hurt and damaged and didn't get therapy, and they're telling them, don't depend on that man because he's gonna leave you in the lurch. That's what's going on. And like I said before, I'm going to show up how I am as a masculine man. That's it. I'm not going to try to pull your feminine out of you. Is it when you get around me, you're going to be feminine, and then we're going to see what we're working with and whether or not we can move forward and pursue a relationship or not. I'm not going to do this whole, oh, I got to create it. No, I'm not doing that. Is it you're coming to me feminine, I'm coming to you masculine, and then that's it. Feminine doesn't mean that you're weak and vulnerable and that you let people walk all over you. That's not what that means. It just means that how you conduct yourself and how you carry yourself, and also how you deal with certain situations, is done with a more softer tone as opposed to more men being abrasive, I guess. That's how I've understood it. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying that's how I've understood it. But yeah, that's really it for this video. That's all I really have to say because she's at the end. It's a sad thing you live in California, Bailey. Oh my gosh, you are fine. You're fine. I know you're not a red flag. They're lying. Not all nurses are red flags. You're special. But that's it for this video, you guys. You already know the drill. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Comment down below. Tell me your thoughts. Do you think that she's wrong? Because honestly, I don't think she's wrong. And I understand why she feels this way. A little bit of advice. Don't respond to what people say online. Who cares? Doesn't really matter. Let me know if you agree with me, because maybe I'm off. Maybe you have a little bit of input, or maybe you have a little bit of information that I may be missing that, you know, could really bring this whole thing together. And like always, subscribe if you want to see more. Peace.